Hey guys, Dan Carr here with ShutterMuse.com. Today we're taking a look at a couple of adapter lenses for the Fuji X100. Now I purchased a Fuji X100F quite recently and I wanted to check out the two official Fuji adapter lenses for it. So we have the WCL100 version 2 and the TCL100 version 2. So these version 2 lenses were actually released at the same time as the X100F model. I wanted to see how they performed. When you get the X100, it has a 23mm f2 lens built into it, so you can't interchange this lens. A 23mm lens on an APS-C sensor has a field of view that is equivalent to 35mm lens in full frame terms. Now when you add the WCL100, it changes that equivalent field of view to the same as a 28mm lens in full frame terms. And when you add the TCL100, it changes that field of view to something equivalent to a 50mm lens in full frame terms. So all of a sudden, instead of just having a fixed 35mm field of view, you can have 28, 35, and 50. Now because you can't interchange the lenses, these actually screw onto the front of the existing lens. So let's take a closer look. Okay, so here we see my own Fuji X100F. You'll notice right away that I actually have this really right stuff L bracket on it. So if you're wondering why this looks a little different to a standard X100, that's the reason. I have this tripod bracket on there. Now when you get the X100, it has, as I said, this 23mm fixed lens on it, which gives a field of view equivalent to 35mm in full frame terms. And we can add these two adapters to change that field of view. So to do this, we unscrew this ring on the front there, which is there kind of for vanity purposes, I guess, make everything look a little nicer, and that reveals the thread. Then we can take one of our adapters, so this here is the WCL, and this will change the equivalent field of view to 28mm. So we just screw this onto the front of the lens. It doesn't click on like a regular lens mount, you basically screw this on just like a filter. And the reason I wanted to zoom in and show you this is to just show you the change in size of this package, because one of the main things about the X100 is its small size, its portability. You can just about fit this into a pocket, and certainly in a jacket pocket with the 35mm lens, well, the native 23mm lens, 35 equivalent, you can fit it into a jacket pocket. As you can see, when you add this adapter on here to get this 28mm field of view, it starts to get quite a bit bigger. Now, what's neat about these two adapters is it doesn't change the aperture of the lens at all, so you still get an f2 lens, which is a really great feature. I also found the lenses to be very sharp. Essentially, it's almost impossible to tell the difference in the sharpness of the images, which is definitely to Fuji's credit, unless you are working at minimum focus distance. When you're working at minimum focus distance, both lenses suffered from kind of a hazy blurring effect, which is actually a little bit visible on the native lens of this lens when you're using it at the minimum focus anyway. So I wasn't really surprised to see that that's still in play with these two adapters. So, you know, overall image sharpness is great. I love the fact that there's still f2 lenses when you put these things on. The main thing to realize is that it changes this size. So you start to lose one of the main features of the X100. Having said that, I feel like the 28mm adapter, so this wide one here, is still nicely balanced. You can actually hold it really well. And what I did love was that it has a thread on here that is 52mm. So let me take this off for a second. If you want to put a filter on an X100, you have to use a filter adapter. So here I have a polarizing filter that's actually pre-mounted to a filter adapter, and that screws on here. So that gives you a 52mm filter thread. So that's great if you want to use something like a polarizer. I often do landscape photography with this camera, so I want a polarizer. So I have a 52mm polarizer there. Now what I like about the wide adapter, if I pop this back on here, this is also 52mm. So it means that I can use my same filters that I've been using without the adapter when the adapter's on there. I can just pop this polarizing filter on there and I'm good to go. So that's something to bear in mind because that's not the case with the other adapter. So let's take a look here. This here is the TCL100. Now, let me just compare these side by side. This is a big adapter. Now, if I put this onto the X100 here, which is a little finicky. You want to be careful not to cross thread this as well. So it's definitely not as easy as mounting a bayonet lens like you normally would. Look at the size of this thing. I was actually really surprised when this showed up in the mail. This thing is huge, and it looks kind of comical on this camera body actually. It unweights it, it definitely makes it less portable. And frankly, whilst the image quality was good from it, I really did not enjoy using it at all. It just takes away far too much of the portability, and the ergonomics of the camera are lost with this. And not only that, but it also gives you a different thread size on the front, so all of a sudden you need to bring a different set of filters as well if you're going to use filters. So this is a 67mm thread on there, compared with the 52mm thread on the wide adapter. So, I mean, overall, like I said, I was impressed with the image quality. It's the ergonomic problems with this 50mm adapter. I mean, it is just gigantic. There's no way I would ever want to carry that thing around. I can just about carry around this one, but the other thing that I found was that when I put it on there, because it's a little bit finicky screwing it on, and you also have to take off the filter thread adapter if you've been using that, and then take the filter off this and put it on there, it's a bit of a faff. And what I found was that if I put this on, I would leave it on for the day. I didn't really want to interchange between 35 and 28 and back again over and over again. And because that difference is relatively small, I can't help but thinking it's still going to be a relatively small usage case if you want to get this 28mm lens. If you absolutely love the 28mm focal length, this is great. I really could not notice the difference in image quality, and the camera knows which of these adapters you've added to it, and it adjusts everything accordingly. So they work really, really well, and like I said, you still get that great f2 aperture. Really, your main consideration is going to be the size. So that's why I wanted to show you this video. I think this gives you a much better indication of how the size of these things change. Even with this smaller 28mm one, if I just take that off, you can see right there, that is a pretty significant change. So for me, I'm happy that I was able to test these out. I want to thank B&H Photo for letting me borrow these to check out, but I don't see myself using them. I can see a few people wanting to use the 28mm one, but I think there's much better options. If you like the 50mm focal length, quite frankly, there's other cameras you can get which would be a smaller form factor than the X100 with this adapter. Alright, if you liked the video, give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more in the future. Thanks for watching.